In 2 short months, I will embark on a trip that I've wanted to do since I was 12 years old. Hike Mount Kilimanjaro. At 19,341 feet, it is the tallest peak in Africa and the largest freestanding mountain in the world. With my departure date fast approaching, I sat down to Skype with the 2 people who made the climb 10 years ago and made me want to do it ever since. My dad and his best friend, Bob Jones.
But this is the trip that we decided was the good way to start. It was, big challenge, and it was famous, and it was something we thought, we could do, and we could get a group of people to go with us to do. So that was the gestation of how we got started.
The day came for the group of men, 16 in total, to begin their journey. Eager to climb, they started to walk through the vegetation, but their guide was quick to give them some important advice.
We started out in the, subtropics. You're really in what is almost a rainforest, and a lot of greenery, a lot of lush vegetation. And I think the notable thing right at the beginning was our leader, our guide, as Ed said, kept telling us to slow down. That's all he ever said. It wasn't, oh, this is great, or look at that, monkey or anything like that. It was go slow and breathe accordingly.
Yeah, so we started out there, and then as we climbed, we only climbed a few hours a day, right. Maybe 3 or 4 hours a day, because the idea was to get used to the altitude. So we only climbed a few hours a day. How many nights before we got to Arrow Glacier? That was a night before the night before
right.
summit.
I want to say 4 or 5 nights before we got there. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
You think that's too many?
Too many, I think. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 4 nights, 3 or 4 nights. So we had zig up Kilimanjaro, and then as I said, it 3 or 4 hours a day, and the rest of the time we were just messing around, breathing,
hanging around the camp, walking around, playing cards, and just exploring, but not too much exploring. They didn't want you doing anything, that was taxing in any way. They just wanted you to just take it easy.
The morning they began their summit, the men struggled up rocks and fought off the cold. Though the altitude drastically impaired their judgment, they had just one goal: get everyone to the top.
All right, so we went to bed soon after supper, but then they woke us up at midnight, and that's when we started the ascent to the summit to get there by 8 o'clock or daybreak, or get there by light.
So nobody sleeps at all. But we headed up the hill, and it was really a difficult push. Yeah. That was a real challenge there. It was all rocks. It's pitch black, so the only thing you can see is your headlamp ahead of you, guides around you. But we had one guy who was really struggling, and he was really close to physically unable to make it. And so they latched him up, one guide in front of him and one guy in back of him, and essentially cinched him in with ropes to those 2 guys, and they sort of walked him up. And so that slowed us down, but also was a measure of how difficult it was.
7 hours later, all 16 men made it to the top. For just a short time, they got to celebrate with each other, exhausted but thrilled. As my talk with Mr. Jones and my dad ended, my father showed his excitement that this would be an adventure we could share together.
So looking back on my Kilimanjaro climb, Elizabeth, I am very excited for you to be doing it. It will be a real once-in-a-lifetime experience.